Oh, you're sitting here. What's happening in a big group for what? Yeah, that's funny. It was picture when he was just he was a great video. It is, right? They're all calling.
It's not only spiritual stuff, it's everything.
It's really hard and sometimes it may not be the most specific other than it sounds like it's a very good job so that the perception of the father has been instilled to the extent that the counting when the priest not just one of the priests the counting for this is, of course,
that's what I thought, yes, But Dundee is there, right?
That wasn't the so I think
She's the performance manager. Yes. Well, yeah.
But on the other hand,
he was telling me like these all these positions eliminated. He didn't. I think his boss though had to like re-interview for her job, and he actually had to re-interview for his own job. Yeah. I got it. Same job back. Yeah. I know. It's crazy. A lot of restructuring. They always do that every year. Won't come to here, I feel like CVS did that last year. They eliminated 300. Yeah. So they eliminated the supervisor position, which is actually my position. But they didn't eliminate the target channel. Target CVS. So they didn't eliminate the target supervisor, but they eliminated the standalone CVS supervisor. I don't have my I have the exact same one, but I think our job will go away eventually. Because so what they did this to have Walgreens like a long time ago, but basically at Walgreens, somebody who manages the front and then the pharmacy.
right, I wish I had a
And then the person who manages the pharmacy. So it's like a pharmacy exactly. So CVS has the same thing. Well, a couple of years ago, Walgreens decided that doesn't make sense. We should just make it one person who manages the entire store. And then the pharmacy manager, their manager works that one person. So they did that. So they eliminated the system in the standalone in the front stores. They can't do that to us. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think what they're gonna do. It might be fair, but I don't care. I think it's good for you. I'm happy with it. But like, I think that they'll eventually take the Target stores and divide them up and give it to the district manager standalone. Because it's everything with CVS is by dollar. They're gonna take a picture. Oh, you did? In the bookstore? For Noah or for you? Noah likes the little tiny. Like Noah has like a little tiny, and even got him a bigger one. Why? It's a little bit extreme.
Very much agree with that.
Do you know that she can call little puppy? Like, yeah. And then.
So if you get you start getting mixed up, and you start getting this, whether it's maybe not business, maybe it was all the same time, but it can become easy more like a social contact. And this also will be. Is that yours?
No.
Well, we got yours.
It's somewhere. Okay, we're gonna take a picture with Abuna. Stay seated. We're gonna take a picture this way. Okay? But we're gonna try to maybe get closer. Just stay seated, but get closer so because I don't think I can go that far back. I think I'm gonna get to a limiting point. I can't go back anymore. Panorama? Seems like Mark is the next one. Oh, you wanna do, I don't have a phone, iPhone. You got any smartphone?
That's like the
Okay,
result
we're
of the
Okay, can we stand? Just stay where you are, but stand.
It's always like a
That's a well, just kind of everybody just kind of switch it out.
what I need.
Miriam, come here. Stand up, stand up. Okay, stay right there then, don't move. Actually, that works for you. Who's that? Susan? Come to your right. Even and Susan, come to your right. Are you sure? Yeah. So you're gonna hide? Yeah. There you go. Very nice. Now she wants to share. Okay, I'll take one here. I'll do a request and then we'll switch.
Actually, my head is speaking right in the right spot here.
You scored the
Yes.
I've done it before. I've actually shown up twice in the same company.
The wife is right there.
Huh?
Yeah. What?
Mary, go,
Yeah,
go
Mary,
stand,
can
go
you come
stand
over
next to
there
her.
on that side? All the way at the end.
And I'll meet you. This is slick.
Oh, that's funny.
Genius.
Oh,
No, no.
he's doing a
You're
panorama.
gonna hold still and say cheese. One,
No, no,
two,
no.
three. Cheese. All right, George, you're out. Which side?
You may have other opinions.
Nobody move, nobody move.
That's genius. No way that's a picture.
Yeah, so when he's George.
So you guys can't move in the middle.
Okay.
Okay,
When you move, when you look back,
Yeah.
it detected it as a new
Two
picture.
chairs, yeah. I think that's side by side.
No, this is more fun. This is more fun. This is more fun.
Stubborn. Very stubborn.
This will work.
It's no longer. There we go. Don't move. Don't move. Abunas, we're gonna switch up with you guys. Abuna, we don't move.
Okay.
Just like surgery. Amazing.
Amazing.
Actually, that's actually well.
Sam, you go, guys.
Yeah, Sam said that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I did?
That's okay. I can Photoshop it, don't worry.
Okay.
I'll edit and send it.
If you get Photoshop, can you make me look slimmer? while you're at it. Can you make me blonde?
I'll send it.
In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. We are in our last stretch of this two-day retreat. I know there are a lot to take in, lots to think about, which is good to take in. Nothing changes overnight, and I'll show you a video to end about, change is good. Change is not easy, but it's doable. Just you have to be intentional about it. Now we get into conflict resolution. So have you thought of a conflict that you might have that isn't too big? Yeah? So I want you to turn to your workbook, and you'll find that in the workbook, there is something called conflict resolution, the 10-step model. It's on page 9. On page 9. This says page 9. So, conflict resolution. As you may have heard, conflicts, 50% of conflicts, as they say, get resolved when people begin and start to listen to one another. Hence, the way we've been robotically, mechanically, trying to listen and suspend our own thoughts in order to listen to the other person, paraphrase that, check, then have a chance to say how you feel about this and so on. Now with conflict resolution, this is one of many models. This model has been used a lot. It works really well. You can make it work in your family as well, in your relationship. What it really much says is the first thing you need to set a time and a place to talk. Most of us try to resolve our issues on the go. And on the go, it means you're distracted, you're thinking about many other things. It's not the easiest thing to have a clear mind and resolve a certain conflict when you are on the go. So the first thing this says is set a time and a place. So let's say you start an argument over something with your spouse, a big argument. I'm not saying you're going to use this every time you have a conflict, but when you couldn't resolve the conflict, this is a model that can help you move forward. But keep in mind that you need to focus on the issue. And sometimes when you're into an argument and there is an escalation, things are getting worse. The negative cycle is coming in, showing its muscles, getting bigger on your account. Your spouse isn't the enemy, but you begin to see them as the enemy. You begin to fight against your spouse rather than join together and fight against the interaction. The negative interaction that's trying to get bigger and stronger on your account. In the middle of that argument, and as it is escalating, sometimes people say, okay, I can't deal with this, and we leave. I can't deal with this, or I'm not going to talk about this now, or you go out and shut the door and leave. How does that feel to your spouse? It feels like abandonment. It feels like they're left lonely by themselves, to hang dry. You could take time out. So people would say, hold on, is there a way we could actually stop the argument or stop the escalation? Yes, there is. You can take a time out. But here's the key. Whoever will call for the time out is responsible to set a time to come back again and talk about this. So, if let's say, remind me of your name, please. George. I'm in a conflict with George, and we're arguing, and it's getting heated, and I want to take the time out. Usually, I would say, George, I'm not going to talk about this. This, to George, feels like he's not valuable to me, I'm abandoning him, he's no good, I hate him, I don't want to talk to him. George is not going to feel very good. He's going to come nag. He's going to come after me. Or he's going to throw his hands in the air and says, you know what, there's really no hope in this. But here I want to take a time out and say, listen, George, this is getting really heated. I think we should take a time out. So why don't we cool down for, let's say, an hour, and I will text you or I will call you to meet up again. Then I'm the one calling for the timeout. I'm the one who's taking on the ownership and the responsibility to do what? To resume this. Should it go to the kids or should it go to our vacation? We haven't been seeing eye to eye over this. How about we discuss this on Thursday, this coming Thursday? We have more time. We'll go out, have coffee around maybe 6 or so after dinner. And we'll sit in a place not too busy, but again, not too quiet. So just a place where we could sit down and talk. Could be the backyard, or it could be out in a coffee shop, or at a park at that time, and we'll talk about it. So the first thing is to set the time and the place. The second thing is to state what the problem is. So how would you state the problem that I presented? What is the problem? Someone put it in words for me.
Disagreement how to use the money.
Yeah, we have a disagreement on how to use the money. And the next point is, how am I contributing to that problem? You see that point? I think it's point 3. Is it point 3? Point 4? So, yeah, point 3. List the ways you each contribute to that problem. Now, here's where couples usually, it's easier for them to tell their partner how they're contributing to the problem. But I'm inviting you to look at yourself. Why? Obviously, if I'm not part of this issue, it would be no problem. So I have a role. I'm playing a role in making this an issue. So if I want, let's say, to put the money towards the kids, because, we haven't really put the money as we should, and, education is getting expensive, and I just heard from my sister, and she's had such trouble with her kids when they got into university, and I got so scared and all that. How am I contributing to the problem? By wanting the money to go to an RESP, for example. I am insisting, based out of fear, from an experience that I've had with my sister, to put this money towards the education because I'm worried. My worrying and my fear is making me rigid. That's how I'm contributing to the problem. How is my spouse contributing to the problem? She can say how. The next step, list past ways, previous ways you've tried to solve this issue and did not work. So we tried to argue about this and just each one of us to stick to our points. We've been playing find the bad guy type of interaction, this and that. The ways you've tried and it hasn't worked. Or, I talked to her mom about this and got her mom to talk to her, or vice versa. I talked to my parents and my parents got involved, and that created even a bigger problem for us. That's not working. And then the next and most critical step of that 10-step model is you brainstorm 10 new ways of going about solving that issue. So for example, do you remember that grid I had on conflict resolution? Accommodating, avoiding. So you can use any of that except aggression. You say, okay, let me think. Maybe we can take 20% or 10% of that fund and put it towards the kids, and 80% towards vacation. We can do 50-50. Here's another idea. Or this year, we're going to put it towards vacation. Next year, all of it will go towards the kids. Or, okay, you know what? I'm going to sell my car, and I'm going to buy a cheaper car, and I'm going to, they depreciate anyways, so I'm going to take some of that money towards the vacation, put all this money towards the kids. You see how we're coming up, me and my imaginary spouse, we're coming up with all these new ideas. This is the part where you actually come together, and you're thinking of new ideas together. Now, as you come up with those, do not debunk and do not cancel any idea. So do not start analyzing, oh, no, this is not going to work because this is it. No, no. This is the part where you just open for all ideas. And you come up with 10. After you come up with 10, both of you talk about picking one of those 10. One of them. And here's where I strongly suggest you don't make a conflict out of picking one of the 10. Okay? They're all your ideas. Together, pick one of the 10. And say, most likely, you can discuss them and analyze them, and then come up with one or two ideas and say, now this is the one we're going to try this time. And then you write, how are you going to be contributing towards that solution? So, okay, I'm going to be asking, I have a financial analyst who's a friend of mine. I'm going to be calling him, and I'm going to be checking, what would be the best investment we can do for next year or for this year. And you're going to be making sure you look for vacation spots that we're going to go to. So each one, how you're both going to work together in that solution you picked out of the 10. And that is step number, I think, 8. Number 9, you set up another meeting to discuss your progress. You say, okay, so let's start this, and we'll meet next week to see how we've done. Or meet in 2 weeks and see how we've done. And then the most important again of all is that last step. Reward each other for working together on this. So you buy, let's say, each other something to drink, something to eat. You kind of reward each other by spending quality time together. Whatever it is, you actually say, thank you. A simple thank you can do it. You have to reward one another for actually working on this together. The beauty of this is that whatever solution you're going to come out with isn't his or hers. It's ours. Ours. And that is so strong and so powerful. Okay? So any questions on this model before I get you to turn to each other trying to work through this? I warn you, do not use a strong conflict. The first time around, you want this to work for you over something simpler, then you can apply it to something that is harder. The more you work together and succeed, the more confident you are and have the attitude and desire to succeed. And it works also against you. The more you come hard on yourselves and think, oh, we're not good with this, we're not good with this, the harder it gets to do anything good in the relationship. Okay, so make it work for you, not against you. Any questions? "15 minutes. Okay, let's wrap up. As I see, it is time to wrap up. So, any quick thoughts? We're gonna finish by 3 o'clock with this movie. So, just a clip. Any thoughts on the process? I tried to pass by, couldn't get to everyone. Any thoughts on the process?
It was good.
Good,
It was helpful.
helpful. In what way?
It kept it neutral, kept the kind of the emotion out of it, especially when you're just following the
Some steps, yeah, put the emotions a little bit aside. Was that
It's
it?
all about the mechanics, right?
It's all about the mechanics, the robotics that we installed in you, the software of building a robot. It's good, it's working. What else? Any thoughts? Any other thoughts? Was it difficult? For some, it could have been difficult, but that's normal. It is the first time to use this. And don't forget, even though you're trying to do this mechanically, there is a background to the issue. So that could, cause a bit of issues here, but that's okay. As long as you try, you work it through, you try and succeed in it, and you will be. So let me wrap up by saying 2 days of communication retreat is not going to cut it for you. It just puts you, maybe it redirects your thoughts a little bit, maybe puts you on the first step. But if you're like most couples, you probably want more of this. You want more of this training. You would like maybe to read a book. Lasting Promise is a great book. The book by St. John Chrysostom is a wonderful book for marriage. And there are other titles that I've also shared with Abuna on the love languages, as I'm sure some of you have read, and a book called Hold Me Tight by Sue Johnson, and so on. There are many other things that can be useful for you. If we could just go around, tell me one thing you're taking home with you. One thing you're taking home with you. I'm going to start, so I'm going to put you on the spot here. Anybody? I'm going to start over here. One thing, the first thing that comes.
The Google search.
The Google search, yeah, the cache.
No, to definitely set aside a specific time during the week where we just meet. And start off with something practical like once a week, and then hopefully get that to be more often.
Excellent.
Date night.
Date nights.
I agree, date night, and do not laugh when she's holding the chair.
Okay. I didn't have to teach that.
The graph with the accommodating, aggressive,
The
assertive.
styles of communication or conflict resolution. Mark.
There's a lot of good things. I think the date night, actually, the idea of date night, or regularly scheduled date night,
Mhm.
weekly is even better.
Yeah, you are a romantic group.
It's a relationship, not a trial.
It's a relationship, not a child. Yes.
I like the intent to learn.
The intent to learn, yes. Permits learn. I love that. I love that. Yes,
For me, the date night.
the date night.
Just, I guess, going about things in a structured way to try to solve issues.
Yeah, structure could definitely help. When things are, they need a little bit of organization, definitely. Great, yes. What are you taking home with you?
Definitely big nights.
The date nights. You're all agreeing on the date nights. That's very good. Yours. I can come back to you. I don't want to put people on the spot, but it really should be something that caught your attention, that gave you an aha moment, like we say. So I'll come back to you. Barbara? Yes.
I think one of the things that I really liked was just the assertiveness. Just say what you mean, what you say, be upfront.
Yes, and the question on how do you build that skill, you apply it. And there is an exercise for you. So there's a question, how do you build that skill? You keep applying it. And there is an exercise there that I left in for you. Please, do that exercise on your own. It is quite helpful to just be able to say I statements. I feel this way, I think this way, and no need to feel defensive. Your partner doesn't have to see it the way you see it, but you see it the way you see it. That's a boundary. Okay?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
We do that a lot. We're like,
Yes.
is that example about like going out?
Yeah.
What do you think?
What do you think?
Back then, oh, okay, we don't do
I'm
anything.
like, just
but-
say what you want. Just
Yeah.
say what you want to do.
best thing to do things is to model it. So I'm going to say what I want to say in a loving manner and a respectful way. Okay, what have you done?
Not finding the right guy.
Not finding the bad guy. That's one of what we call the demon dialogues. Demon dialogues. It's a negative interaction. Very good. John.
I went into my inbox, I'm sorry.
Okay, well that's a good one to take home.
The differences in how, she communicates and how I communicate and how her brain works and my brain works differently in understanding.
And an insight into that can help you communicate better. Okay.
I wanna, I think, caught my attention one thing you mentioned. You gave an example, but I think it can be applied to many things. Many times we got hung up on little issues when the root cause of the problem is a value.
Right.
And you gave an excellent example about budgets.
Yes.
When you say maybe the main problem sometimes is not the budget.
Yes.
Because we don't agree on the value of money.
Right. There's a value, there's a meaning, there's a feeling, there is a thought, facts. The deeper you go, the harder it gets. You know how we make fun of sometimes how people get upset and a marriage problem and they're going to get divorced because the new table they bought, they're not in agreement whether to put it this way or that way. It has nothing to do with, we trivialize the issue. The issue isn't whether it be put this way or that way, it's the meaning and the value behind why I want it this way versus why I want it that way. And it could be something like, she doesn't respect my opinion. So it's much deeper. It's never about the table. And it's never about the stuff on the outside. Yes.
I like the steps to follow to resolve the conflicts.
Yes, the
How to
10-step
go-
model.
yeah.
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah?
I really liked it. It
Okay.
makes it easier for you to follow certain steps, to communicate better. You know what to expect. We agree on something.
Yes.
We don't have to disagree how to solve the issue. We agree on this. That's
Be sure.
Yeah, it's mostly to how to understand each other more and work on our differences.
Great. Lily.
This perspective on the negative loops.
The negative interaction. Your husband, your wife, is not the enemy. It is not the enemy you need to put your efforts against. It's actually that third entity called the negative cycle. If you're able to catch it, see it, call it out, work against it.
I love the image of the interpretation and action.
The grid.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know where it is. Where it is.
I'm still pitching too. I definitely like the search and explore more personal
And then to explore, yeah.
And then the one about identifying and causing care as a child.
I like that one too.
I like the identifying if something's a feeling versus the fact.
Yes.
Because it helps to understand how to react. And I liked how to use that to be assertive as well.
Great. Sam. Is that right, Sam?
Yes.
Sam. Anything you want to share?
I learned a lot, Abuna, and I like your style that you're making it very interesting and interactive. So it's not like a dry lecture and that's it. So
Good.
yes, and the spouse is not the enemy.
Yes.
I like that.
Abunas, would you like to say, highlight anything?
All of the above.
None of the above? Okay, now, having said all that we said in 2 days, I want you to know change is possible, but change is not a switch on-off. Change is not a switch on-off. It takes intention and effort and patience and encouragement and working together. So what I'm about to show you is quite the opposite, where people expect things to change like this. So I don't know if you've seen this one, but it's quite funny. This is just to say, take your time, work together, don't give up. And don't expect this.
Dr. Switzer?
Yes, come in. I'm just washing my hands.
I'm Catherine Bigman. Janet Carlisle referred me. Yes, that's me. Should I lay down?
Oh, no, don't do that. Just have tea. And let me me tell you a bit about our billing. I charge $5 for the first 5 minutes, and then absolutely nothing after that. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Too good to be true, as a matter of fact.
Well, I can almost guarantee you that our session won't last the full 5 minutes. Now, we don't do any insurance billing, so you will either have to pay in cash or by check.
Wow, okay.
And I don't make change.
All right.
Go.
Go.
Well, tell me about the problem that you wish to address.
Oh, okay. Well, I have this fear of being buried alive in a box. I start thinking about being buried alive and I begin to panic.
Has anyone ever tried to bury you alive in a box?
No, but truly thinking about it does make my life horrible. I mean, I can't go through tunnels or be in an elevator or in a house, anything boxy.
So what you're saying is you're claustrophobic?
Yes, that's it.
All right, well, let's go, Catherine. I'm going to say 2 words to you right now. I want you to listen to them very, very carefully. Then I want you to take them out of the office with you and incorporate them into your life.
So I write them down?
Well, if it makes you comfortable, it's just 2 words. We find most people can remember.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay, you're there.
Stop it!
Stop it!
Stop it?
Yes, S-T-O-P, new word, IT.
So what are you saying?
You know, it's funny. I say 2 simple words, and I cannot tell you the amount of people who say exactly the same thing you're saying. I mean, this is not Yiddish, Catherine. This is it. Stop it.
So I should just stop it.
There you go. I mean, you don't want to go through life being scared of being buried alive in a box, do you? I mean, that sounds frightening. Then stop it.
I can't. I mean, it's been with me since childhood.
No, we don't go there. Just stop.
So I should just stop being afraid of being buried alive in a box.
You got it. Victor. Well, it's only been 3 minutes, so that will be $3.
Should I only have a 5? So
Well, I don't make change.
I guess I'll take the full 5 minutes.
Fine. All right. What other problems would you like to address?
I'm bulimic. I stick my fingers down my throat.
Stop it! Not of some kind? Don't do that.
But I'm compelled to. My mom used to call me fat.
No, we don't go there.
But I didn't.
No, we don't go there either.
But my horoscope did say.
We definitely don't go there. Yes, stop it. What else?
Well, I have self-destructive relationships with men.
Stop it! You want to be with a man, don't you?
Yes.
Well, then stop it. Don't be such a big baby.
I wash my hands a lot.
That's all right. I wash my hands all the time. There's a lot of germs on them. Yeah, don't worry about that.
I'm afraid to drive.
Well, stop it! How are you going to get around? Get in the car and drive, you kook. Stop it!
Stop it! You stop it!
What's the problem yet?
I don't like this. I don't like this therapy at all. You're just telling me to stop it.
And
I don't.
So you think we're moving too fast, is that it?
Yes. Yes, I do.
All right, then let me give you 10 words that I think will clear everything up for you. You want to get a pad and pencil for this one?
Right.
Ready? Right here are the 10 words.
Stop it or I'll bury you alive in a
So, you wish life was that easy, right? So, be patient, work together, and stop it! Right? May the Lord bless you, bless your lives, and hopefully you can take home some of the stuff you said and think about it again. The PowerPoint will be with Abuna, God willing, this week, probably by Monday or Tuesday, and you can always access those slides.
Thank you so much, Abuna. On behalf of everyone, I just want to extend my thanks to Abuna for coming all the way from Canada to here for just attend our retreat. We are blessed to have you, Abuna, and we definitely would like to have this on an annual basis. So please don't book anything next July or June around the same time.
Stop.
Stop. What do you mean? You're going to bury me alive? That's not very Christian-like. Just another thing, Abuna, we just want to thank you on behalf of Abuna Suriel and myself and all of the couples here. This is just a small token of our love. The rest of it will come in the email. So expect something in the email that's even better than what I just given you. So
thank you so much.
And
a pleasure.
Thank you, Abuna. Thank you so much. Just a few last minute things. If you still have your card, please drop it off at the front desk. And please, when you go pick up your kids, the servants have done such a great job, I think over and beyond my expectation. If you share the same feeling, please show them by just saying thank you. Because this has only been possible because the kids were not here. Or the other couple of things that are happening, we're thinking about having a parenting retreat in 6 months. So this was marriage retreat. We're actually thinking of purely just for parents as well in 6 months. So in 6 months' time, we're thinking of having something similar to this, but for parenting, explicitly for parenting. And then after that, we're going to have another marriage retreat. So basically every 6 months, you're going to have either a parenting retreat or a marriage retreat. I feel very strongly about this specific service because I feel like there's a gap. We don't focus enough on the marriage and we definitely don't focus enough on the parenting. And hopefully as we keep going through this, having someone like Abuna coming on an annual basis and same thing for parenting that will enrich our lives. Any other last minute feedback for me or how this retreat went or what would you do differently or good things, bad things? We always appreciate your feedback because we always want to make sure that we're doing even better the next time.
This was amazingly organized. It was so wonderful. Just everything from the retreat and then just during the retreat and with the kids and everything else. I mean, it blew him away.
Great time.
It was next year, maybe not on Father's Day weekend.
Yeah.
Like if we left the fathers behind.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
No, but it was fine. But that's the only recommendation I would have is not on Father's Day weekend.
Yeah, I actually realized this on Father's Day almost like a month before it happened. Because when we go back and forth to find a date that accommodates Abuna, once there's a date and we're all good, then we clear it up. And it's like whatever it is, just come. So, but it's a good point. Thank you. And obviously, I can't take the full, gratitude. There's a lot of servants that were part of this, and there's a lot of people that have worked tirelessly to get this all organized. So, thank you for that feedback.
Thank you.
Any other feedback? Positive, negative? Go ahead.
Yeah, Abuna truly cannot think of anything negative. I think we're all impressed with the organization, with the practicality, how feasible it is, the time slot. It makes it really very efficient and very practical for everyone to come and enjoy many great things.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you. Dina, sorry.
The only thing that I wanted to add, it's not a negative feedback, but we can make it longer. Because
Longer,
it's very
okay.
short, like 4 hours is just,
Okay.
enjoyed it very much that we wanted to make it.
So would you suggest 2 nights and 3 days?
Yeah.
2 nights, 3 days, okay?
Friday, Saturday,
Okay. We'll need more servants because I think the servants are they're maxed out.
They're maxed out, yeah.
I think we need a new crew every day come in and move on. Yeah, look, I think, like I said this before the retreat and I said it during the retreat and I'm going to keep saying it. Having a good kids program can allow us to do so much. We can't do anything if we don't focus on that. And in my vision, the success of this was not based on the feedback from the couples, but the feedback from the kids. If the kids had fun, then the parents are okay with it. If the kids didn't have fun and the parents were okay with it, the parents are not going to come again. So thank God the kids are having fun and everything is safe, so everything went well. Anything else? Okay, now the love of God the Father, the grace of the only begotten Son, our Lord God and Savior Jesus Christ, the gift and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, will be all go in peace, and the peace of the Lord be with you.
And also with your spirit.
We would stay outside. We would stay outside. So you still get the bit. This makes sense. Change Oh yeah, congratulations. Yeah. You got the great job, as long as you're happy. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's all.